Hey y'all, Kentucky Farmer here, and welcome back to the 12th episode in my FS17 Courseplay tutorial series. In this episode, we're going to continue our coverage of fieldwork mode, and we're going to dive into one of the more advanced topics of fieldwork mode, and that is running multiple pieces of equipment on the same course using offsets to effectively create one large implement. So as you can see in our example here, I've got 5 tractors set up with plows, and we've got this field over here that we've been using in some of the previous videos that needs to be plowed. So let's go ahead and get this course set up. So we'll go ahead and open up Courseplay, and it doesn't really matter which tractor we do this from. I'm going to go ahead and start from the farthest tractor to the right here. Bring up Courseplay, and we're going to set it into fieldwork mode so that we can access the course generation tab. And then we select field 28, and you can see this is a 3.8 meter implement, but that's not actually the working width that we want to use, because that's the working width for 1. So we actually need 3.8 times 5. And 3.8 times 5 is 19. So we'll scroll this all the way up to 19 meters. And then our starting corner is going to be the northwest. Again, that's northwest. And we're going to be heading east. And we'll go ahead and generate that course. So as you can see, our starting point is actually over here now. Well, it goes away when you get out. So it's over there now. And so if we were to run this course the way it's set up, this tractor would just drive straight down the middle and would miss a whole bunch on the right and the left. And so we actually don't want this tractor to follow the course. We want this tractor to follow the course and be offset to the right by a certain distance. And we'll need to, if you see here, you have this lane offset where we can go right or we can go left. And we need to figure out how much we want to go to the right. So I'm going to hop out here, and I can kind of show you how you can figure this out. Okay, so in this example, we're using an odd number of equipment. And what that means is, with this course, this middle tractor will follow the actual course. The middle tractor will have no offset because we want it to be right down the middle of this tractor. These two are going to be offset to the left, and these two are going to be offset to the right. And this tractor and this tractor, so our number 2 and our number 4 tractor, will actually have the same offset, just one's left, one's right. And then our number 1 and our number 5 tractor, again, will have the same offset, just one will be right and one will be left. So if we know this one's 0, then to figure out the offset for this one, we're basically coming over half of a tractor width plus half of a tractor width, which means that this is one full width. So this offset is actually our working width. So our working width's 3.8, which means that this one's offset to the right 3.8. So then if this is offset by 1 length, then this one's offset from it by 1. So this one's actually offset by 2 tractor widths, so that's 7.7 meters. So now that we know how far we want this offset, we can come in here and we can set this to 7.7 meters to the right. Alright, so now we'll hop into our next tractor, and we can use the driver setting tab, and we're actually going to copy our course from this tractor that's right next to it, and we need to put it in fieldwork mode. And now we can do our lane offset. So this one's going to be to the right 3.8 meters. Alright, so now we can set this tractor. And again, we want to be in fieldwork mode. And we need to copy our course. And it doesn't really matter which one we copy from as long as we copy from one of them. It's the same course. And this one will have no offset, because it's the middle tractor, so it follows the line. Alright, so now we're going to set up this tractor. Again, fieldwork mode. And we're going to copy the course from one of our neighbors. And this one's going to have a left offset of 1 width, so it'll be left 3.8. So we'll scroll down for that. And now finally for this tractor, fieldwork mode. And we'll copy our course from a neighbor. And this one's going to be left 7.6. Now the next thing I want to talk about is symmetric lane change. And this is something that I think has quite a bit of misunderstanding about what it's for. I think a lot of people get the concept but don't really understand why you would use it in a scenario like this. So with symmetric lane change, let me kind of explain how it works here. Basically, this is a left tractor, right? It's on the left side of the lane. If we activate symmetric lane change, then when the tractor comes back down the next row, in the first row here it's heading east. So on the next row when it heads west, with symmetric lane change activated, this will switch from being on the left to then being on the right of the next lane. And it's not such a big deal for this tractor, but if we think about this one for a minute, if we don't do symmetric lane change, and this is on the right hand side of this lane as we head east, when it turns to come back towards us, it will be on the right hand side again, which means that this tractor is going to have to make a very tight turn at the end of each lane, and the outside tractors over there that are on the left, they will do a very wide turn at the end of each lane. And so if we activate symmetric lane change, then every single one of these tractors will actually have the exact same turning radius, because they'll all be skipping 4 lanes before they then come back down the field again. Now, with this particular tractor and these particular plows, that's not a huge deal, because these have good turning radius, because it literally picks the plow up off the ground, so the turning radius is the turning radius of the tractor. There's some equipment out there, some of the longer plows, that have really bad turning radiuses, and so this can be a huge advantage to do symmetric lane change, because it allows you to get away with using those bigger turning radiuses and not have to come up with a way for the implement to turn so sharp. Now the other thing that's worth noting about this, in what a lot of people get hung up on, is when you're running all of this equipment on the same course, there's a higher likelihood that you're going to wind up having traffic issues where, one piece of equipment will wind up overlapping on a lane and colliding with another piece of equipment coming the opposite direction. And so one good example of that is if we do symmetric lane change, then this tractor's on the right, and that tractor that's down there on the left, when it comes back, will be on the right. And so if we start that outside tractor first, which kind of seems logical to start the one at the edge of the field, and we work our way over and we start this tractor down here last, then what's going to happen is this tractor will still be going east, while that tractor down there is going to be coming west, and the two will have, most likely, depending on how much overlap you have in the course, the two will have a collision, somewhere down the field. And, they may get stuck, they may just kind of like bump off of each other, It's hard to say. But if we start this tractor first, and then the one to the left, and then the one to the left, and the one to the left, and eventually all the way out to the outside one, then you'll never have a traffic problem, because they're all making the same size turn, doing symmetric lane change, and this guy's already on the inside, then none of the other tractors will ever get in front of it. You may have a couple instances where, one tractor will sense that it's near the other one in front of it and cause it to slow down because it detects the traffic, but you normally won't have a traffic issue. That said, there's one exception to that, and let's go ahead and look at the preview here. So as you can see, we're going to start here, and we've got these relatively wide paths. Well, when we get down to the end of the field, we're actually going to have an issue here where this is like a partial row, and so we will have traffic in this scenario. When you're heading this way, there'll be a couple lanes. Well, sorry, when you're heading this way, there's obviously going to be a couple lanes that, like the 3 left tractors, will probably overlap what's already been plowed here. Sometimes, depending on the timing of the tractors, everything will be fine and it works itself out. But sometimes you'll have to just keep an eye out for that and fix those when it happens. Alternatively, you can, and this takes a while to get it ironed out, but you can try and come up with a working width combination. Like maybe I should have gone with 4 tractors instead of 5, where you wind up with almost exactly the same lane widths all the way, and you don't have this remainder lane anymore. So that is one thing you can try and do. We could also try and reduce the lane width a little bit. So when we generated it at 19 meters, like maybe 18 meters or 17 meters would have not caused this. And then we'd just have overlap on either side, which, again, if we're using symmetric lane changes and we start the inside tractor first, it's okay to have some overlap because you still won't have any problems with the tractors colliding. But we'll just run with this course. That way you guys can see how it works. And then if there is a traffic issue down here, I'll just pull off the extra tractors and let the rest finish. So we can go ahead and close this. And so, again, we want to activate symmetric lane change for this example. So then I can start my tractor. And I'm going to pull it forward here a little bit. I may have staged these a little bit too close to the field, but we'll see how this goes. We'll do first waypoint and drive course. Alright, that's not too bad. Let's get the next one. We want to activate symmetric lane change, turn on our tractor, first waypoint, drive course. And this one, you don't do symmetric lane change because it always just follows on the middle one. So it's not even an option because you're not doing a lane offset. So first waypoint, drive course. Symmetric lane change activated. First waypoint, drive course. Activate symmetric lane change. First waypoint, drive course. Alright, so I'll follow along here in the middle tractor for a while. And that way we can kind of see how these tractors in front of us here are actually going to execute this turn. So now if symmetric lane change was turned off, that first tractor would stop and come back down right just to the right of where it just went. You can see they're sensing traffic, but they're not really getting stuck, which is fine because honestly, once that traffic has been settled out, then they will do a better job of maintaining, because they're all going the same speed, right? So they'll kind of maintain the spacing that they've developed at this point, and you'll see less of them getting stuck in traffic like that in the next turn. Alright, so there you have it. That is plowing a field using 5 tractors as one in fieldwork mode with offsets. I'm going to go ahead and reset all of this and get some cultivators, and then I want to show you one more example using cultivators but with an even number of tractors. We'll run 4 tractors instead of 5. That way you can see how the math is a little bit different that way. Alright, I've got our plows put away and I've got some cultivators over here now. So I'm going to do one more example. It's very similar to the last one. The only difference is we're running 4 pieces of equipment instead of 5. And so that's going to have an impact on our working width. So if we check in Courseplay here, these have a working width of 6 meters. And the store agrees it is a 6-meter cultivator. So if we've got 4 6-meter cultivators, then that means that we actually need a 24-meter working width, because it's 6 times 4. So we can scroll our working width here all the way up to 24. And then we're going to put this on field 28. And again, we're starting in the northwest and we're heading east. And we can generate that course. And again, as you can see, our course is right there, which is kind of in the middle of these tractors. That's good. So now we'll need to do the offset. In the last example, we had 5 pieces of equipment, which means that the middle piece of equipment was going down the lane. But now that we have an even number of equipment, every tractor is going to have an offset because 0 is going to be right in between these two. So these two are going to have a right offset, and then these two are going to have a left offset. So if 0 is right here, then this tractor needs to be offset half of its working width. So if this is a 6-meter cultivator, it's going to have an offset of 3 meters. This next tractor is going to have an offset of 9 meters because it's being offset by the entire working width of this tractor plus half of its working width. So 6 plus 3 is 9 meters. So we've got 9 meters right, 3 meters right, 3 meters left, 9 meters left. So now that we've got this course generated, we can come in here and we're going to scroll this up until we get to 9 meters right. There we go. And again, we are going to leave symmetric lane change activated for this. So for our next tractor, we'll bring up Courseplay, and we're going to copy the course from our neighboring tractor. Our lane offset is going to be 3 meters to the right, and we will activate symmetric lane change. And now for our next tractor, again, bring up Courseplay. Copy our neighbor's course. And this is going to have a left offset, so I got to scroll down, of 3 meters with activated symmetric lane change. And finally, our last tractor hiding in the pine tree over here. We need to copy our course from our neighbor. And then this is going to have a left offset of 9 meters. There we go. And activate symmetric lane change. So all the 4 tractors are set up. So again, since we're doing symmetric lane change, I'm going to come back to my inside tractor. That's the one I want to start first. We'll turn it on. Tell it to go to the first waypoint and drive course. And now we'll get our next tractor here. Start it up. See if I can get lined up a little bit better than that last one. There we go. First waypoint, drive course. And now our next tractor here. First waypoint, drive course. And finally our last tractor. First waypoint, drive course. So as you can see, that first tractor's already gotten to the end. It's going to skip 3 lanes and then it'll head back down the field. And as you can see, this tractor is skipping 3 lanes, finishing its turn, and then it'll head back down the field. Alright, so there you have it. That is some advanced fieldwork mode courseplay action there. Showing you how to use multiple pieces of equipment to work together as one large collective piece of equipment using lane offsets. Hopefully you found this video useful. If you did, would you please give it a thumbs up? That helps a lot. If you have any questions or comments, feel free to leave them below. If this is your first time visiting my channel, I've got a link in the video description to my Courseplay tutorial playlist. I've got quite a few more videos related to Courseplay and other things. And be sure to subscribe for more farming simulator videos. I'm Kentucky Farmer. Thanks for watching.